Hello, people, and welcome to my world. We will watch today Black History, why Black Africans were viewed as a threat. I'm looking forward to this little short documentary from Black History Archives. And since March is my new Black History for starting this year, I thought, okay, let's have a focus on that because it's one of the longest months, and I want to learn more. So actually, this is a good part here to learn about, about Black history and also about Black men. Why people are so afraid in us. Yeah. So let's see what they will teach us today.
Why is there so much hate and racism against Black people? Wait for a second and really understand this question. Not only hate, but people feel jealous of Blacks and see them as a threat. Vox reported a study done by the American Psychological Association that showed
I love to read that study. People see Black men as larger and more threatening than similarly sized white men. Researchers found this time and time again in a series of 7 studies. I didn't knew at all that they was studying these kind of things, but it's interesting because what I learned in history and also portrayed as Black men's in the studies that we get most of the time aligned to animals. We are inferior. We are more like physical stronger and all this kind of things. We everything what they thinking is benefiting us. It's in the same time putting an image on it that we are dangerous and that we are a threat. So it's just a common thing that they do the study, or that this headline is portraying this what I also learned in history about Black men in general, that we are stronger and that people should fear us. And this is sad because why? So it's with all men the same, that most of the time female people are fearing men, and that's despite the ethnicity.
Black people are seen as a threat. This trend has been seen for centuries, but why is that so? Evidence shows that there are some reasons carved in non-Black people's minds that subconsciously provoke them to feel jealousy and hate. Well, yes, the underlying reasons are shocking. From the fear of losing their partners to being jealous of Black people's physical superiority and fear of getting extinct and genetic annihilation. Very
Again, it's like we are seen as animals. Black men on their vulnerability and resilience. American black men have historically been described as violent, and the racist fear that has resulted means they're actually constantly at risk and deeply fragile. So, yeah, I would say I agree to that because it's, I think after George Floyd's death, the uprising of mental illnesses in black people uh, was raising up. And last time I was talking with my sister in Germany, the fact is that if we hear most of the time something from black people in the German media, this black person was killed. So if we're talking about Arabic people or in the Middle East, most of the time they are terrorists, and but in the end they was catched. So or it was a gunshot or something like that, and then in this, but we figured out when a black person becomes in or comes in the media, most of the time we're talking about the death of this person and not what really happened. So and for me, it's really a tragedy that this happening. Also, Kimberly Crenshaw she mentioned it once in my previous video that we most of the time don't talking even about the death of black females, that they get killed also in a high majority of policemen in America, and we are not talking about it because femicides is a taboo in all around the world. So because we are not talking about femicides also in Germany, they are just like left out. Normally, we just talking about the man's perspective or the intruder or not the victim, the other part of that, and yeah, it's fading. So also it's also a standpoint to see how we talking in media about gender and how we are framing them. It's just uh, so much, but I would say journalism need to learn in a point where we acknowledge that words means power.
Various reasons trigger jealousy. Welcome to the Black History Archives, a channel where we present the forgotten Black history and events that every Black or white should know. We feel Black people are often misguided by being bombarded with propaganda that forces them to forget their glory. Our goal is to educate you about the factual events that shape everything. Let's build a Black community that grows together. In this video, we will tell you the reasons why Black people are viewed as a threat.
The Black History Archives.
Reason 1. Fear of losing partners. Picture a white man deeply in love with a white woman, committed to each other in a strong relationship. However, hidden beneath the surface, he harbors the secret worry, the fear that his
A sociologist examines the white fragility that prevents white Americans from confronting racism by Katie Waldman.
partner might be drawn to other Black men. It's a fear born out of society's perpetuation of stereotypes, associating Black men with sexual prowess and physical dominance. These stereotypes can trigger deep-seated insecurities within the white man, causing him to question his own.
Social studies, white women, and interracial marriage changing views on a death penalty. Wow. Death penalty for interracial. I know that this was a thing in the apartheid regime in South Africa, that it was forbidden interracial couples. But in this point as well, interracial couples are so often common that it's forbidden in between a lot of societies. So it's not just white and black, but what I can see also if I watching media and TV and movies, that we always have the standpoint white people can have interracial marriage with any other ethnicity because this is a good one, but between other ethnicities, it's not the fact that we are not portraying them. Most of the time, we're portraying all the time interracial couples if there's a white part. So white Asian, white Latinos, and white blacks. So these three ethnicities that we are combining them all the time with a European standpoint. It's like, and then we portraying most of the time also stereotypes into interracial couples. So the white man is patient and all that, and the black woman is the angry black woman. So, and this is what we should acknowledge, that there are still stereotypes nowadays portraying between the ethnicities and who can have interracial couples, but in other ways we mostly don't see Asian African or Latin African or indigenous people with other ethnicities and all that, because they are almost erased on the history and the standpoint. And this is what I just saw or recognized the past years, and it's just a thing what I believe this is happening in media, but I don't have any standpoints there. I don't have any resources. Just this is my own point of view.
Own sexual performance and physical attractiveness. In today's world, where interracial relationships are more accepted, some white men may feel threatened by the attention Black men receive.
More accepted, I would not say. If you really, really talk to the families, they might accepting, but in the back or on the beginning, there probably wasn't. I still knew a lot that if they have interracial intercourse, it's not. It's still a taboo. I think it's not that accepted how we viewing it.
fearing that their partners might find them more sexually appealing. These anxieties can undermine the security of the relationship and create unnecessary tension. Even reports have suggested that black men might be pro-masculine, having abilities to satisfy their partners better. This has led.
Okay. Okay, let's see that. Black masculinity and sexuality are common topics across areas of philosophy, psychology, cultural studies, and others. Yet, these topics are dedicated to the racial narrative of hypersexual black male, the sexual objectification of black men, and their presumed promiscuity. While such topics are important, there's little qualitative research that looks at the complexity and emotionality of African Americans' men's sexual experiences. Using the theoretical research on black masculinity and sexuality as its backdrop, this dissertation explores how heterosexual African American men experience their sexuality. This is a good part to see here that they also including the sexuality, because it might be also differ to homosexual gay men. So, the study incorporates narrative inquiry and in-depth, semi-structured interviews to gather stories of 5 African American men. 5, it's not a society and not really a high research, to be honest. This study also uses an autoethnography from the researcher to answer the research question and extensively. Now, the fact checker I can't read, as a black man influenced the project. And yeah, so it's from the Duquesne scholarship collection. And yeah, but 5 African Americans to us, I just can tell we have the same sexual desire and all that like white people or other ethnicities. There's not, in my opinion, there's not a specific way that we are more sexual in the society than other ethnicities.
White people to feel threatened by black men. Interestingly, if we look at the current landscape, we can observe a rise in relationships and marriages between black men and white women. It's possible that this trend reflects a growing recognition of the sexual charisma that black men possess.
Not just that, I would also say or take this in account. There was an uprising of mixed childrens because of the Kardashians. Because media influences are having a huge place, and the Kardashian was a big part. It's the same like that they did the Brazilian butt lift, BBL, and after this area of BBL was gone, they went back to the normal. Or now, a lot of celebrities going back to being white. So, who is it? Ariana Grande. She's now more in her white area. Whatever. Before that, she was a little bit more tanned. Then Miley Cyrus the same way. So they had this crisis. They want to be have a certain look, and and now they're going back. So in the Kardashians with Kanye West as a counterpart and have babies together. So a lot of people trying to head on or glorify their celebrities. So, and this, I would say, this can also affect a society to being or want a certain type of baby. I say that because most of the time the people, so white women saying they would love now racist law here or a racist belief is they want to have a choco baby, a chocolate baby. So, and in this might be the uprising also that white women getting black babies but in the same time they don't even acknowledge their own racism. So, and I think this, it's a huge and a bad thing what is happening, because they can't really protect their own children, in my opinion, if they are not acknowledging how deeply racism is rooted in our system.
which is now openly acknowledged by many. Reason 2. Physical superiority. Throughout history, blacks have been recognized for their exceptional physical strength and charisma. These qualities
Yes, and I hear this all the time, but then why we are not primarily dominating all the fields in the Olympics, you should question that. If people saying we are way more have way more or higher physicality, why the Olympics are not all black? You should think about that.
have at times evoked fear and insecurity among non-black individuals who see the potential dominance of black people as a threat to their own status and values. Even white men see black people as superhumans due to their experience in
Okay, there are a lot of fact checkers. Black athletes are often portrayed as God. Oh, wow. As gods. So, not always saints. Their gravity defying Air Jordan, invisible Iron Mike, supercharged. If Usain Bolt's last name didn't exist, we would have had to invent it, or all around supernatural Magic Johnson. These monikers help sell magazines and sneakers, but there may be a deeper bias at play. New research suggests that white thinks of blacks in general as superhuman, or at least more so than whites, and this bias may have implication far outside the white world of sport. Yes, it's reached to my attention as well that people are thinking we are in general more athletic, more have more high standards and all that. But if you primarily dominating us in these fields and evaluating people with a review in sports to giving us the place, you don't have your focus on other fields. We have for certain Fiona Mutesi. She is a female character and she loved chess, and she was dominating the field in chess, but she didn't get so much recognition. But even we have a movie, it's called The Queen of Katwe, and she made her stand in the movie and was evaluating. But for those characters to get recognition and also being in the field of academics is way harder than people get recognized in sports in from the African continent. Sorry, that sometimes my first say is country, but no, the African continent. And Fiona Mutesi was from Uganda, and she, I think she had luck to get the recognition, but she had also a lot of obstacles because Uganda was a poor country and couldn't assist her in the way she flying to other countries to compete in chess. And I mean, that's why we most of the time seeing more black people maybe in Olympics. But even though if they portraying them as gods, why we are not running the Olympics? And this is based in global racism and how slavery was made in the first place to do black people as inferiors.
which they are often outperformed. Non-black societies, such as European colonizers, established social and cultural structures that marginalize black people. They devalue physical labor, in which black individuals excelled, and instead celebrated delicate fragility as a sign of refinement and civilization. Ancient philosophers, like Aristotle, further propagated the notion that black individuals were inherently subservient. These distorted beliefs were used to justify the enslavement and mistreatment of black individuals. However, no matter how much the physical work is degraded, white people feel threatened due to blacks' physical superiority. They have genes that help them grow muscles, enjoying the natural
We have beans to grow muscle. Yeah, okay, okay. Morning mix. People see black men as larger and stronger than white men. I'm 173 centimeters. I'm not large at all. I was really small in Germany. Now, since I'm in Portugal and Portuguese people are not that tall, I'm taller. Yeah. Or I'm average, I would say, here in Portugal. But in Germany, I'm definitely not average. And white people are most of the time in Germany higher, or at least not white people, but Germans in general. So even when they are not, study says. Wow, okay. No, I need to. The Washington Post. People see black men as larger and stronger than white men, even when they are not, study says. So even studies say that we are. Oh my god, this is just ridiculous. And but this is how also, like, psychologists like Freud just try to justify ridiculous things, what not was there, and it's terrible that people trying to make things up.
Natural biological supremacy. Studies have also revealed that black people are blessed with genes that help them not only to have cognitive superiority, but also physical.
Okay. Is it in the genes? Studies have found physical differences that might help explain why blacks outperform whites in certain sports, but scientists are wary of jumping to conclusion. 1997. Okay. I have no idea if this is now true or not, but if we seeing countries like Senegal or Gambia, where a majority of people are poor and their hobbies are sports, and they doing it from morning to evening on the beach, then they training. And a lot of people forget that those people are training. They training since they are little, and then they achieving things when they um, yeah, being more professional. But they're training as well. So maybe we should talk about the trainings black people do as well, and not just reviewing we are gods or something like that.
Dominance. Reason 3, fear of genetic annihilation. During the era of black enslavement, black individuals posed a significant threat to their non-black masters due to their physical strength and charisma. The fear of genetic annihilation arose from the understanding that if non-black individuals married white individuals, their own genes would be rendered submissive and eventually extinct. Biologically, when individuals mate, their genes combine and influence the traits of their offspring. White individuals feared that intermarriage could lead to the dominance of black genes over their own. This is because of natural selection, where nature selects the genes which have more chances of survival. Genes having specific traits from a mother and a father are combined in their child. However, the gene having robust capability dominates while the other is suppressed. Since black people are better equipped for the environment, naturally, the probability of their genes' domination is more. Hence, if a white woman and a black man, or a black woman and a white man marry, black genes will have superiority and white genes will be suppressed. In the past, owing to this fear, interracial marriage was prohibited. The one-drop rule was established to maintain the oppression of black individuals. This legal principle said that a person having even one black person as an ancestor should be considered black. Therefore, they should not be allowed to marry a white person. Today, as this cannot be added to the law, fear and hate exist after knowing this reality. Enjoying the video so far? If yes, here's a little reminder to like the video and subscribe to our channel to get more videos on black history and culture. Let's continue now. Reason 4. Fear of extinction. The fear of potential extinction.
So, two things to say. What bullshit was there with this one drop rule that you can't? Of course, we all have black ancestors because we are the blueprint. So I'm mixed race, so I have white and black, but we are all, or the first person was found in was on the African continent. So, and after that, we went to explore the whole world. And in some certain areas in the world, you don't need a high melanin level. You don't need that because there's no sun. Legit, there's no sun. So if we go by England is made for white people because you don't get so much of a sunburn. So the melanin level is for those people who are living closer with sun to protect their skin. But we also can have skin cancer and all that kind of things. But it is still protecting us to not suffer as much than white people in the sun. Because you legit becoming a red carpet if you're being too long in the sun. And those things, it's evolution, what it's made here. And the other thing, I think there was the two. It's like, the other thing was, okay, there was a law. If you have one drop of blackness in you, you couldn't marry a white person. So you need to imagine laws all the time are made up. We can change them so randomly how we want to. And most of the time, we need to adjust a lot of laws in a certain way that we are not get discriminated. Because sometimes discrimination is also leading in a structured way and is structured by our law.
Often plagues groups who believe that their cultural, ethnic, or racial identity is under threat. White supremacists, in particular, harbor intense fears related to black individuals, perceiving them as strong, attractive, and superior. This fear stems from a sense that the population, influence, or power of white people is diminishing. Demographic changes, including migration patterns, cultural shifts, and changes in birth rates, can amplify these fears. White individuals may feel that black individuals are replacing them, which, coupled with the perceived genetic advantages of black individuals, intensifies their unease. This fear can lead to a desire to preserve their own identity.
A fear of white extinction is provoking racial bias among American whites. New research finds that such fears are provoked by demographic shifts and in turn prompt stronger support for conservative policy positions,
resulting in racism and discrimination. Fear of extinction stems due to genetic annihilation. As black genes are considered better equipped, white genes will ultimately be suppressed. As a result, there is a fear that the white population will become extinct. Reason 5. Fear of being replaced. For generations, white individuals have enjoyed certain privileges and advantages due to an unequal distribution of wealth. However, societal changes are challenging this status quo, leading some white individuals to fear being replaced. Previously, systemic barriers prevented black individuals from acquiring property, keeping their circumstances unchanged regardless of their efforts. Today, the removal of these barriers allows black individuals to fully pursue their aspirations. The perception of being replaced by black individuals can generate anxiety and fear. This fear is amplified particularly if white individuals believe that black individuals possess advantages in areas such as economics, culture, or demographics. These concerns can lead to a defensive mindset and resistance to
loss, fear, and rage are white men rebelling against democracy. Berkeley News.
societal progress. Since black express better cognitive abilities, and there is no limitation that can suppress this today, the fear of getting replaced becomes obvious. Earlier, this fear was avoided by structural and institutional racism, but today, no such systems exist. Reason 6. The inferiority complex. Some ultra-white conservatives and supremacists may implicitly recognize the perceived superiority of black individuals in terms of survival capabilities, yet they refuse to accept it as reality. Instead, they experience jealousy and an accompanying inferiority complex, which fuels their hatred. An inferiority complex arises from feelings of inadequacy and inferiority compared to others perceived as strong or exceptional. This complex can manifest as low self-esteem, self-doubt, and resentment towards those deemed superior. In conflicts between white and black individuals, the underlying cause is often rooted in the inferiority complex of white individuals. Their hate is a manifestation of their feelings of inadequacy and resentment towards black individuals. White individuals may feel intimidated by the perceived superiority of black individuals and view themselves as incapable of achieving the same level of success or excellence.
Okay, I'm listening to him, but I'm a little bit confused by the choice of pictures because I have a feeling the pictures are just random. They have not anything to do what he's saying. That's why I was like looking. It's like this picture I know already, and at the same time I was like, oh wow, I'm confused because I'm looking at the image, but what he's saying makes not part in the image, and that's why I was a little bit confused. And I just wanted to mention that to you.
Focusing on their perceived shortcomings or weaknesses, they may harbor resentment and direct their anger toward black individuals. Reason 7. Fear of losing white supremacy. Extreme white conservative supremacist groups often experience a deep-rooted fear of losing their grip on white supremacy. They interpret increasing racial and ethnic diversity, progressive social movements, and evolving societal norms as direct threats to their social, cultural, and political power. White supremacy ideology asserts that white individuals are inherently superior and chosen by God. Faced with challenges, fear arises within these groups. Paradoxically, this fear stems from the realization that if white supremacy were true, white supremacists themselves would not fear black individuals, as they would be the chosen ones. This fear often manifests as xenophobia, racism, and a desperate desire to maintain.
This I want to read because I think it's quite important. One of the guiding problems at the outset is getting a handle on what it means when we talk about whiteness. There are excellent book-length studies devoted to the historical and legal construction of whiteness as a racial category, and I refer readers to a few Ignatius Lopez for in-depth discussions and definitions. For the purposes of this piece, we should understand whiteness is a trope of domination. Annalise Keating supplies some characteristics of whiteness as such a trope that I think will suffice here. Whiteness, which is not necessarily synonymous with white people, is associated with an unjust social system and a resistance to change, with the denial of accountability, with closure, with violence, with hypocrisy, and with ignorance of other cultures. This is not to demonize whiteness, but rather to catalog negative associations resulting from historical, social, and legal occasions for the constructions against blackness and other categories in America of protecting white interest and power. So what it says is, if we're talking about white, it's a political term, and a political term don't refer immediately to the skin color. The same is with black and people of color. It's try in a formal way, I would say, to try to clarify what structure means and how the structure can be defined in this kind of understanding. So when we're talking about right, then we're talking about a European standard system, what it was built on people from Europe and the Western world. And if we're talking about black, we're talking about resistance and different kind of association to the black culture through this oppression in the system of white supremacists. So that we have those political terms and trying to understand of a review that there are two different conception also how to see and get portrayed in the world because of the narrative and the system behind white supremacists.
maintain traditional power structures. These concerns stem from the belief that white supremacists will become a minority in their own country, relinquishing the advantages they have enjoyed for generations. Political rhetoric that reinforces these beliefs and promotes an us versus them mentality can further exacerbate these fears. In some cases, these groups may resort to violence and intimidation to preserve their control and perceived dominance. What do you think? Aren't these reasons the major contributor to feelings of hostility against Black people? Will these fears ever end and there will be no racism and discrimination? Let us know what you think about Black people's role.
I think not that much. I think it will be always running because we are getting at the moment backwards, especially America. They voted for Trump and he is messing up the own country, but they chose for him because they voted for him. And but yeah, I like the short thing here to see, to follow there, and I think I had made my point in different ways. And if you like the video, for sure, I would love a thumb up, and also hit in the comments what you think about it and how you experience the words white, black, people of colors. Did you know already that they are political terms, or did you refer them all the time to the skin color? So, and yeah, hit in the comments, and also if you didn't subscribe my channel, I would appreciate this as well. And I wish you a wonderful day, a wonderful afternoon, and a good evening. And now you can make you a good drink. Make you a drink, a coffee, a tea, or hot chocolate, and I see you soon. Have a wonderful evening, day, afternoon. Bye bye.